Hi, my name is Goldman. I'm the director and founder of Goldman and Associates. Our firm has a primary focus on family law issues here in Michigan, and today we're going to continue our video series designed to educate and inform the public, so please subscribe to our channel. Today I want to talk about high asset divorce and the challenges of high net worth divorces. As an obvious proposition, if you have two 21-year-old kids who are married for 8 months, and between the two of them they have no children, they have 2 blenders and a beanbag, you can well understand that divorce does not present the same challenges as a long-term marriage where they own boats and golf courses and house in Charlevoix and a vacation property, they have children, they have all these things, there's stock options, you can well understand the difference between one kind of divorce and another. In its purest form, the divorce itself is not any more complex, one case to the other. What makes the divorce challenging in the case of a high asset matter is making sure that, number one, we have all the assets disclosed, that we have full transparency, i.e. nobody's trying to hide anything, and number two, we have to determine the values. Sometimes the values are easy to determine. You put a house on the market, it doesn't matter what you ask for. Whatever someone's going to write a check for, that's the value. In this day and age, with the market being robust, sometimes you put a house on the market for $495 and it sells for $550. So again, it's very much determined by the marketplace, and the marketplace is readily available. Things get complicated on us when you have a business. What's the value of a business? Sometimes people will evaluate a business based on how much they have in the way of receivables compared to what they normally have every year, and they extrapolate the values of what the profits will be. Sometimes it's a question of how things are evaluated. I've seen people try to evaluate a business based on the amount of money it makes and based on the amount of money it spends and what you're left with at the end. But that is subject to manipulation because that has to do with how much the officers are paid. Sometimes the officers are the parties to the divorce, so that makes a complication in terms of calculating the actual value. So if I had to put my finger on what the real challenge is in a high asset case, you got number one, garnering all the assets to see what they are, but number two, how do we figure out the values? And even if we can come up with a scientific way of evaluating it, who are we splitting it with? We have the parties to the divorce, but a lot of times in high asset divorces, you got multiple partners that have got nothing to do with the divorce case, so that the marital asset is only a small portion of the overall large asset. So the value of that asset, separated from the overall total asset, that has a different kind of value too. Sometimes you have a business, and the business doesn't create much profit, but yet it has a history of providing an income of $100,000 a year for its officers, and it's been doing it for 30 years. Well, obviously, even though the business doesn't have much profit, because at the end it breaks even, but if it's able to provide a nice living for its officers, and it's done so all those years, that has a value. So you got to figure out what the value is. So I would say the main challenges are garnering the assets and then determining the values. If you have any questions about that, reach out. Of course, we'll be glad to help you out.